Okay. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
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 We might have a few folks joining us a little later during the critique, and that's perfectly okay. But I kind of wanted to change the format a little bit and just kind of bear with me for a second. Usually I have students present their work verbally and visually kind of at the same time, almost kind of like it's a PowerPoint presentation. And this time, just, for a change of pace and for a different type of conversation, what I'm going to have students do is only present their work visually, not verbally. And that's going to be a little bit of a challenge through Zoom because you might have to go through multiple documents and you might have to decide on one or two good pictures of your work that you want to leave up on the screen for folks to take a look at and really kind of digest and understand visually. And then after the artist does that, after he or she presents their work, then the other students can essentially describe what they're seeing, describe what they're getting from the artwork. So instead of the artist telling us what to think about that work, we have to sort of derive that just by reviewing the artwork itself. So does everyone kind of understand that? It's a little bit different, but I think, what I'm really curious about is I want the artist to know how their work is communicating without their words. So in other words, if you're not in the room, if you're not in the gallery, if you're not in the space, how are folks understanding what the work is communicating to them? Who wants to go first? Any volunteers?
I'll go first.
Okay.
Let's see.
We're screen sharing our presentations, right?
Yes, and hold on one second. So now screen sharing is on, folks.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, the other rule is, and I'm breaking this rule right now, keep your videos on, please, so that we can see you.
Okay. Can you guys see me still?
I see your screen, I believe, yeah.
Okay.
So remember, Kayshawn, this is 3D design crit.
Oh, 3D design? Okay.
Yeah, the design crit is going to be the next round.
Okay.
Yep.
So this was my, or do we explain? Or do we just show?
Remember, like, you don't necessarily have to explain. Why don't you just kind of scroll through your project a little bit and show us what was going on? And then what I'd like for Taisha and Jonathan to do, or who else joins us, is to just kind of describe what they're seeing for you. So this is an opportunity almost for you to hear what folks think about your project before you even say anything.
Okay.
Yeah. So just kind of scroll through it and try to like silently walk us through the project, show us. Show, don't tell.
So this is project 5, and this is what the 3D repetition, and this is my sketches. I didn't really go on with my sketches. I just kind of like used it as an idea to keep going. So I didn't really follow my sketches. It was just like kind of like the starting.
Wow.
Image. This is like the final piece.
Mm-hmm. So that's the final resolved image.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Taisha and Jonathan, what do you think? What are your thoughts? I'm going to try to facilitate this new process a little bit.
I think it looks really interesting. I like how what's it called? It look honestly, it kind of reminds me of like little trays,
Hmm.
and like it's just really interesting how he put everything together. It's not necessarily well, it looks all in order, and it looks like he did have like some type of theme to it. And I think like the color worked great for the project as well. And it was just like it looks really well put.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think this is a big step for you, Kishan, because uh, you're kind of learning, and I'm sure you already knew this, but looking at these sort of ready-made, pre-made rectangular boxes that are hollow, and the way that you're sort of assembling them into an object, you're realizing that you don't necessarily have to make these things in order to make art. You can find them, you can repurpose them.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important step, is that an artist kind of has to make, because oftentimes there's this misunderstanding from, I guess you might call them non-art folks. Okay, they think that being an artist means making everything from scratch, like baking a cake from scratch or something, like with flour and making the icing from sugar and food dye and blah blah blah. But the truth is, right? But the truth is, artists are constantly looking around their environment and their world and finding things that they can use to represent and create an idea. And they don't always have to be, uh, you know, they don't have to be folded, into all these rectangular boxes. You can find them prefabricated. So I love this project for that reason. I also like how it feels structural, and it kind of feels labyrinthine a little bit,
Mhm.
and mysterious, because I'm wondering, like I have initial questions. You don't have to answer these, but one of them is that, is this object hollow, and why is it hollow? I'm kind of wondering that. I'm also curious why it was painted silver. And although I do agree silver works just fine, I also think just the beautiful natural material of the found rectangular forms works really well too. So in the same way that you found these boxes and used them, you can find color and use color in a very similar way. That's just around us, all over the place. There's color everywhere. There's fascinating color throughout our designed lives every single day that you can find and repurpose into something that represents you.
Yeah.
Jonathan, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are like the way he structured it together. He like you said, it was hollow in the middle, and I seen that when the top pieces were off.
Yeah.
That's was what one thing I want to know too was what was the purpose of the hollow point in the middle.
Uh-huh.
And I like the way the structure is. It reminds me of like a movie scene I seen. A
Mm.
house was built like the same exact way, and and it was like a real fancy, nice house. It reminds me of that, but it looks pretty nice. I like the coloring, and I like the way the choice of materials he used. It's pretty good. I like it.
I'm curious. I mean, first of all, you commenting that the hollowness inside for some reason is really fascinating to us. And so, Kishan, two of your reviewers are now mentioning this interest in why is it hollow, or this curiosity with that hollowness, which I
Uh,
which I think kind of speaks to why folks look at art. You know what I mean? When you look at art, you're sort of wondering what is going on there. Why did Kishan do that? Um, but
um.
but the other thing I wanted to mention also is, and I thought this was a good comment that Jonathan made. He made a reference to this structure to almost sort of a house made for a movie. Is that right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
And like for example, in Arizona and New Mexico, I know a lot of films are always being made, and these sets, they build these sort of homes or makeshift towns, sometimes out in the middle of nowhere, right? And
Yeah.
there's really no house going on. It's just a facade, and there's nothing behind the facade. So in a way, behind the facade of the house, it's hollow. So that's That's the interesting connection I'm making between the inside of this sculpture or this object and Jonathan's comment.
Yeah. Well, to answer y'all's questions, like my idea was kind of based, like, it was funny that he mentioned that it reminded him of a house because um there was this movie that I seen. I forgot the name of the movie, but I kind of remember it. And then there's like these different rooms that are like constructed in like almost like a Rubik's cube where it can be switched around.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea I was going for. But then I wasn't able to like switch around my stuff, and I knew it was gonna have to stay. And then this kind of also reminded me of like a pixelated cube kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was just trying to go for something that looks like different, you know, something that's like eye catching and like appealing, and something that you can interact with. So that's kind of the reason why too. Like it was hollow. So like if someone were to build this, like, or if I were to build this like on a bigger scale, and like it'd just be something fun to look at and interact with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
especially the hollow portion of it. And the idea for the color too, steel, is like if I were to build it like on a bigger scale, it'd probably be made out of steel beams.
Right.
Yeah.
So the silver represents materiality. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, the idea was just I was just going for was just repetition, and I was just kind of letting things happen on its own. So
Yeah.
yeah, the foundation is what started it all, because I built like half of this portion right here. Like
Yeah.
none of these cubes were on there on the base or on the sides, and it was just it looked kind of like it was hollow on both ends like this. It looked like this, and it looked
Yeah.
more like a cube. And then everything else was just added to make it look like kind of distorted or out of place, but still like in sync and like in order and in repetition, and it just balances it out. Like I made sure like what I did to like one side, I did to the other, and yeah.
So symmetry. I really like how you're using, you know, art language as far as elements and principles right now. Okay, Sean, that's what it's all about. Thank you.
Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Like I was just like thinking like how, like if I were really to sculpt something or like make something really big, then like this is what it would look like on a smaller scale.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, where did you find these beautiful like boxes? I mean, is it for jewelry, or what are those intended for? Like, how did you come across those guys?
At first I was looking for like cubes, hollow cubes kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And then I came across these boxes I found at Hobby Lobby in Gallup.
Yeah.
They have pretty good stuff there. You just gotta like really look through every aisle. And this was like in the jewelry section. And then like once I seen these, and it kind of just clicked, and then I already had an idea of like where I was going.
Yeah.
So I just bought a couple of packages and unwrapped them, and just used the case, the covers, because these ones are the bottom pieces, and those are too like big. So I used like the top portions that cover the top of the boxes.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that obviously these things are sort of analogous to bricks or CMU blocks that are literally used to build homes. So there's that sort of reference as well. But
Yeah.
you know, I really do like the beautiful. You know, I'm using my mouse. I don't know if everyone can see this because you're looking at Kishan's screen, but there's this real nice kind of interesting texture, I think, when you look at those brown boxes up close, and I think that's kind of part of it too. So I think something does get lost for me when you added that spray paint color, but when you did mention, you know what I mean, envisioning building it larger, I mean, that provides a lot of rationale and reasoning, so I get it. But
yeah,
yes,
that's what I was thinking too. Like I had trouble like deciding whether or not if I should add color, you know.
Yeah.
I was gonna add individual color, but I didn't want it to look like it was just thrown in there and it looked random.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wanted to have order, like the way it's structured too. Yeah.
You know, this 3D design class, the way that I've designed it has kind of changed quite a bit, you know, over the years. But initially, I used to have a project where I asked students to strictly go out into their environment. So just go outside, for example, and find only natural materials to build a 3D sculpture with. So bark, for example, or trees and twigs, right? That kind
Yeah.
of function as like a structural framework for something. Or you can use leaves and kind of layer them with a glue gun to create a plane. But in a way, like this project for me, although it is very kind of modern, you
Mhm.
using that brown box material kind of makes me reminisce about an older project that I had students doing. But I do want to give you a little bit of critical feedback. I think you could do a little better with your documentation.
Yeah.
I kind of feel, I mean, although like we can see what's going on, I think there's something to be said for setting up an environment with I guess a simple non-objective background, and then
Yeah.
photographing the model from the top, the side, multiple angles.
I was I was saving those pictures for like when I actually turn it in. I haven't turned this
Okay.
assignment in, even though
Okay.
it's done. It's
Yeah.
just yeah.
Okay. That's good to hear. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. I think, I mean, Kishan, just out of curiosity too, because we are kind of coming towards the end of the semester, how did this class help you, as a designer?
Um, it's really like give like opening my mind to like new ideas, I guess, because before school, like I'm big on art. Like I like art, everything art. Like it's fascinating to me, and like being actually to like do hands-on work and like learning like from a professor, and like it's really like opening my outlook and like just like my curiosity,
Yeah.
my ideas. It's just expanding it, you know. It gives me like the motivation to like create more and like be consistent with ideas and like bringing it to life and just like understanding like um the definition of things, you know, like people don't really consider or don't know about,
Mhm.
like these readings that we learn to. But I'm still learning, still in the process of learning. I know I got a couple more years of like really fully understanding, but it's a process. And yeah, it's just the hands-on work, I guess. It's like really
Yeah.
teaching me.
Yeah, I don't think I could have articulated that any better, Kayshawn. That was near perfect. And that's what continues to drive me, as an artist and designer. There's just like this constant fascination with the world around me. And I see art and design and beauty everywhere. And it's really amazing to even consider the fact that, there, like this can be a professional career, just constantly being involved with this. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited for your future, and I think you have done a great job in this semester, and you continue doing a great job. So, but the problem
Thank you.
is, when you impress me with your projects, I always expect more and better next time.
Yeah. Huh.
So just kind of keep that in mind. All right.
Okay.
But that's the name
Thank
of the
you.
game. You're kind of, doing that to yourself too. And I know all of my students experience this. When you feel really good about completing a project and talking about it, and you get great feedback, something happens in your mind. The chemicals fire, and you want to continue to impress yourself. You impress your colleagues, and you challenge yourself for that future that you're talking about. So it's like this real beautiful cycle that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, excellent work. I think it's fantastic. We didn't hear from Shelby because she joined a little bit late. I'm not gonna criticize her too much about that, right, Shelby?
No.
So, but yeah, go ahead and just kind of take a look at what Kayshawn has put together for. I believe this is project 5, right?
This shit. Yeah, project 5.
Yeah.
Repetition.
So Shelby, what are your thoughts on this one?
It's different. I mean, like, basically, usually through the paper, you say, like, do other materials, cardboard boxes, and stuff like that you already made. But from him, he took it into, like, a different perspective of buying those boxes and trying to turn it into something else. And especially through his vision, he said he wants to make it bigger in real life, in real dimension. And if it was a bigger perspective, like a bigger project, it would be kind of different, especially the way he painted it. Um, this was Project 5?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
Project 5. Yep.
Project 5. Okay. So Project 5 was like repetition, right? Like the same kind of pattern all together. Um, I can see that in three of the emotions of what you were trying to put together on each angle. It would be better if you kind of like took pictures of like the first perspective view, and then the second and third, going like a 360 all around to see what was the repetition inside of it, especially with the whole inside of it too.
Hmm.
Um, and at the same time, the color, it's interesting. Like I never think of like silver in the first part if with this project, but I think I can see where you're going with it at it.
Yeah.
But so far, I think it is kind of interesting and intriguing.
Thank you.
So, just out of curiosity, I'm going to challenge you to talk about interesting and intriguing a little bit more. Unpack that a little bit further for Kishan, if you can, and yourself.
So, okay, in my perspective, I feel this is kind of like nothing I would probably do because like I think like all artists are kind of different in their own way,
Mm-hmm.
and from what you did was possibly maybe easy because in some artists they try to do stuff creatively, but they can look simple and basically like a simple line and try to do another whole story out of it. And towards your way, even though I am kind of late, what were you trying to do exactly? Like what's the theme or the narrative behind your thing of your project? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So my idea was just like finding a way to like implement repetition. And at first, my idea, like I was telling the others, was to create or use hollow blocks, I guess, and
Mm-hmm.
create like kind of like a Navajo basket. And
Yeah.
then my idea had changed because that was like kind of too simple, more simple than what I did right here.
Yeah.
And the black and the light shading represents like different colors. So I didn't really follow through with that idea. It was just like it was just there in my head, and then it kind of gave me a perspective of what I really wanted to do. And so I walked around Hobby Lobby for like 2 hours, like going through every aisle, like picking up certain stuff and like, what can I do with this? No, let me keep looking. And then finally I found this like way in the back towards the jewelry aisle. And like I looked at these boxes and I was kind of just like, like if you piece these together, like you can create something pretty cool. And in my head, I was thinking of like a pixelated box, kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, it was like in a way, it just looks different, like something someone hasn't done, but it looks so simple. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but and then piecing it together was a whole nother story because like you can piece it like in any order, and then this is like I guess like what I came out with, and I've never seen anything like it. So it was kind of like from my perspective, I was just trying to create something unique too, and I was thinking like if this were to be like on a bigger scale, like if I were to actually like make this like into like a 10-foot like cube like on display, then like I want it to be like cool, like people can interact with it too.
What I
And like
also find kind of interesting was like if you ever created something so big and so huge, like a scale model, people will probably be so confused on like how can an artist or why would an artist make something like this huge sculpture? What's the reason behind it? And then it kind of like caught me off guard when you said Navajo basket. I'm like, I was like, what? And then I saw your like sketches and what you were trying to do. I knew the same feeling too because of like what I sketch out and what I plan. And then when I tried to do it on smaller models of how it will look in my repetition in my perspective.
yeah,
And sometimes there's a feeling behind me like thinking, I don't think this is good. I still don't feel like it's good. So sometimes I would like to challenge myself into trying something different, even if it's simple too, going back to doing what you do usually, but you kind of twist it on your own. And I think that's what you kind of did at the same time, because I usually do that. You like sketch things out and you have a meaning behind it, But then when you think about it more, you start to overthink about it. And when you overthink about it, you try to do something different and new, and which I think you have done, and which kind of inspires me to think like sometimes you have to take risks in doing other things. But um, in my opinion, I would love to see like maybe some color of like a line, like maybe changing it inside, like putting like a design, but you do that all around so it can
Yeah.
be like the same and be repetition.
Mhm.
Mhm. But
Thank you.
so far it's really good.
Yeah. To piggyback on Shelby's statement and all of her commentary, which I think is fantastic, but I after Jonathan mentioning the cinematic aspect of these box-like frames, and then Shelby sort of commenting on sort of wanting or wishing for content, but I do think that these boxes are sort of possible opportunities to tell a narrative or story, but for some reason, obviously, I don't think that was quite your intent. But I think that's really something important to keep in mind, that sometimes these elements that are associated with a larger object can sort of be targeted on a unique basis and made to add up to that overall narrative with elements and principles, visual imagery, texture, line, um, hierarchy, balance, blah blah blah. So
Yeah.
it's really a great comment, Shelby. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
So hold on. Okay, Sean. So do you have a project 6 for us?
I don't have any pictures. I just have my sketch.
Okay, we'll start with your sketches for this critique, and then for the final critique, you might owe us 3 projects then to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay.
For this project, I'm kind of having a bit like a hard time. I mean, I started off cutting my shapes and all. It's at home, but this is my first idea that I'm for sure gonna follow along with. My other ones were like not that good. My other ideas. For this project, I kind of just jumped into it without sketching, to be honest, and that was kind of my first mistake because I ended up throwing away everything like what I created and starting from scratch again. And but basically, what I'm trying to do is my new idea is to create like a hollow frame of a box, like, and then inside put in like this kind of like star like shape, but in a way where where it can be interacted with. You can spin it, and then on the outside like have various other shapes to like represent it in a way.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the materiality, like for the star shape that's interior, for example, and then the
Yeah.
framework, I'm wondering. Or any ideas so far as the materials that you might choose to?
I was thinking of like these like thin wooden planks for the box.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then adding like a black color. Like the colors I already know I want is black and white. And yeah, just make it like a kind of like a just something you can interact with, I guess, like a project, because most of mine are not like they're
Yeah.
just there, I guess.
So I guess the word that we could use is kinetic, which means movement, right?
Yeah, kinetic. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, this is really an intriguing project. I'll look forward to seeing it next time around for Crit. But just for the sake of us kind of exploring an aspect that is really important regarding art and design, period. What is the concept? What does this shape in the middle represent? What does it mean? What is the concept or idea that you're kind of moving towards? Or is, and again, you don't always have to have an exact answer to that. Sometimes you don't know it until it's done, but I'm just kind of curious. I mean, that would be my question as the viewer. I wonder why Keshawn made this beautiful interactive shape, around this framework. I wonder, what does it mean?
Just looking at the precedents you sent us of like what's of the idea of what we're supposed to do.
Hmm.
Most of the projects you look at, they're just there, like it's not, I guess, I know people have their own ideas and like perspective, but to me it's like I could like make this like look or be more fun in a way, you know, like more
Mm.
creative,
Mm.
and like what you said, like kinetic, like it's people can interact with the art, and I don't know how this idea crossed my mind. I guess just the thought of it, like of like spinning inside with another shape, and then having like various other shapes on the outside representing like it overall, and then using color, like these ideas that cross my mind, like it's just I just go along with it and then see what it turns out to be. But the whole idea of like is just for it to be able to be interact with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's. I think any last comments for Kushan? My last final comment is great work, and we'll look forward to seeing Project 6 completed along with 7 and 8 in several weeks, because the semester is coming down to the wire, right? We only have this month pretty much. We have November, and in November we have a couple holidays. We have Veterans Day, and we also have Thanksgiving. So before you know it, this semester will be coming to a halt. But yeah, I think Keshawn, again, you've been doing great work all semester. I really applaud you. I tip my hat to your process. Good work. Any
Thank
other
you.
comments?
I would like to just say, nice job. The first
I
project.
know
was
it's not much,
It's
but
perfectly fine because
Yeah,
like
it's
people
good. Yeah,
trying.
art takes time. Yeah.
Yes,
So
Yeah.
it does.
Art takes time and work. It takes
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
You got to get in there and do it.
I'm surprised
Especially
I
the
know
ideas
mine.
when they start coming in.
Yeah, but good job on your projects, and I can't wait to see your second project too, or your project 6.
thank you.
Yep.
I'm going to take a quick coffee break while the next person is queuing up what they're going to be showing us. And remember, we are trying to focus on show and not immediately tell, so that other folks have some time and space to kind of reflect and respond to the artist. Because I think it's really important for an artist to know what their work is communicating. So in other words, without you saying anything, I wonder what everyone thinks about a project. And that's the first step to the critique this time around. It's a little bit different. And so who wants to volunteer while I run over and refill my coffee? Okay, Taisha. So she's going to queue up, and I'm going to grab my coffee, and then we'll meet back here in 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, then. Let's see. Desktop. Share. Can everybody see everything okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said to like wait until he comes back, right?
That's perfectly fine. I like his sketches though.
For
Thank you.
real.
This
I
is
feel like I'm
Project
so
5.
bad at sketches. Like I try to make them cool, but I'm just like, I don't know how this works.
That's understandable. I overthink a lot, so like I have one idea and then I think of another idea and I have to like sketch it out or like write it down.
For me, like my mind is like blank. So when I think of ideas, I'm just like, okay, I want to be creative. I want to try something different. And then I try to look for online examples of like giving like maybe some shapes, some models, and then I just start up from there. Like I stacked up. That's why it takes so long for me to even sketch things out. I'm just like, ah.
Well, like Mr. Bollinger said before, like art takes time and
Mm-hmm.
it sometimes just comes to you. Well,
Yeah.
also, just letting you guys know, I do not see any of you. So, can one of
Right.
you please let me know when Mr. Bollinger's back?
Oh,
He's
I'm
back.
back right now.
He's back.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's a good point. I've been trying to encourage folks to turn on their video, and although I'm looking kind of scraggly with my beard, and it's COVID business and everyone's at home, let's all try to be a little more communal and show us your face, or...
All right. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Cool. So, yep, these are my sketches of what I've come up with. I know you only said like three pictures, but what was it called? I don't have only three pictures.
That's okay.
And this is for project 5, by the way.
Wow.
Hmm.
Please let me know if I'm going a little bit too fast.
No, I think we're okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Uh,
And that's the end of project 5.
yeah, leave it on your best project 5 image so that students can sort of respond,
Okay.
while they're looking at your work.
The best image I have, the one I like, is this one.
Okay, so again, this is an opportunity for us to sort of tell Taisha, what we're getting from her work before she really talks about the concept or idea.
I'm curious, how big is it? Like, it looks kind of huge in my perspective, or maybe I'm just like overthinking it, but is it kind of like smaller, or because from your pictures they make it look huge?
Yeah, it's like a medium-sized kind of project. This is actually all made up of different sizes.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was taking the pictures, I was really surprised on how like all of them looks the same.
Yeah.
So like it's a pretty like medium project. It's not really that big. And what's it called? The background as well is like the same size as the project itself. It's just like at an angle that makes it bigger than the background itself.
Yeah. You know,
That
I was like, when I look upon all your photos, especially on Facebook, on the Fine Arts website, I was like, what is the story behind this? I was like, I never seen anything like, or possibly trying to do something bigger and different, because when we look upon like the reading material, we just kind of like start to think of like doing little things, like little sizes, and then basically turning into something. But you kind of made it like Trice says, that I can tell that you basically try to do something bigger and something that kind of like people probably has not done. But like you said, you have like so many ideas, and from now, like looking upon what's behind it and everything, how you chose the background and that circle and then behind it, I can see what your theme and what you're trying to tell.
So what would you say is the theme, Shelby?
I feel like she was probably trying to tell a story inside the stars, or either basically like a spaceship of some kind, because of like how the background is black and it's like splattered with like, maybe is it white paint or
I know I actually used glitter glue.
glitter? Okay, yeah, and basically how in the sun kind of reflects upon it, especially with your shapes too. It's it almost gives like a galaxy kind of feel. I don't know if that's what you were going for, but that's how I see it.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was going for.
Mhm.
damn. Got it
That's
spot on.
exactly what I was gonna say too. I mean, the like I sort of saw a moon and like a space shuttle too. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But my second thought was gonna be like that thing that you hang outside in the wind, chandeliers, or what do you call those things?
Yeah, look, that's what I was
That's
thinking too.
that's
It
what
kind
I
of
was
looks like a
that
chandelier.
was my second thought too. Yeah. So it looks good.
It kind of
It looks good. Looks nice.
it kind of reminds me of Superman too, like with the crystals for some reason.
Yeah.
I got that. Okay.
Yeah, I definitely see, sort of like a condensed learning process happening with this project too, because I think someone had mentioned it before, a lot of this semester has been talking about building these small, so unit forms, that's what the book
Mhm.
calls them, these small kind of elemental unit forms, and the way that they can kind of build into these larger sculptural objects. And so I think the space theme is pretty darn evident in the way that you've displayed the work. But the other thing that's really evident here is the way that you're using this idea or notion of structure. So like each of these unit forms has this inherent kind of triangulated extruded structure happening, although they're all unique. And then they all kind of come together to represent this abstracted spatial form. So yeah, I think it's a really interesting project. I think I would be very curious to hear the response to this project if it didn't have the space background. You know, would it still be considered sort of like a spaceship or like some kind of like intergalactic weapon or some kind of time portal? Or, you know, like I'm hearing a lot of different things going on from folks, but I think that the background or the like the diorama kind of background really kind of led us down a path. And that's something to kind of keep in mind too. You know, like the way that you present your work can really influence how folks absorb it.
Thank you. My first thought of doing the whole background thing, I was just gonna leave the background like all black and just like paint the project just silver. I wasn't gonna add any stars or the moon to it, but like I keep having this feeling to it that it was missing something.
Yeah.
And my grandma was actually the one that kind of gave me the idea of doing like the stars and the moon. And when I did it and after I was done, I was like, I think this is what was missing.
Nice.
But yeah, my first idea with this project was to just have like what Mr. Bellinger was saying, is to have you guys, you know, go through your own imaginations to what you would think about this and what it would be.
Yeah, my money's on Time Portal. But yeah, my wife actually saw this piece and she was thinking about there's this, I know this is kind of like exerting or revealing my inner nerd a little bit and possibly my age, but in He-Man there's like this time portal key
He-Man.
that Skeletor has.
What the?
And yeah, that's kind of what it reminds me of as well. And I know that's a little bit hokey, but we're having a little fun this morning too.
What's a He-Man?
He-Man was.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. Don't get me started. Okay. As we digress from He-Man and Skeletor, any last comments for Project 5 before we move to Project 6?
No, good job. That's on.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. It just has like a weird intergalactic spaceship drifting through space.
You know, in some of your pictures, I could see you kind of captured them in broad daylight. But now that I think about it, I was like, it would be kind of fun if you possibly like kind of like took it outside at night, but you could use like a flash camera and try to like get like different angles of how it would reflect against the black and your project and to see how it works together. That's just like my opinion.
Yeah, documentation is always important. I'm always trying to emphasize that with all of my students. You know, the way that you document and present work really matters. So just always keep that in mind.
Yeah, I think I take too much pictures of it though.
No. The more pictures, the better, and you don't have to use all the pictures. You can only, you choose. Essentially, you take maybe 25, 30 photos, and you only need to use 3 or 5.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's move on to the next project. I'm kind of curious where we're going next with Project 6.
Let's see. Let's start off with these sketches first.
Wow.
So these are the sketches of what I was planning on doing. And let's see. All these cutouts of what I have to do. And after that, the whole entire process.
Wow. So yeah, when you're ready, Taisha, leave it on an image that you kind of want us to look at while we're talking about the work.
Okay, let's see if I, there we go.
All right, my first thoughts on the project. It kind of like reminds me of like our. It kind of gives off like a sense of like your projects like come to life or something. Like
Mhm.
just the way like everything's like kind of like it kind of looks random in a way, but at the same time it's like together. It looks like some butterflies or something like coming out of a cage or something. Oh, that's what I see.
Thank you.
Mm. When I study about your projects and when I look at them, I can never expect things the unexpected because you create things very so different each time, and I literally have no idea what goes on in your mind, especially through your sketches. And from this, I this was completely different that I haven't seen again. It just like okay, when you show me the sketches, I was like automatically thinking like, whoa, she already went out there. I'm like, she already has it. She's done it, and then basically from all of this and how you were creating it. I thought I saw colors before, or that might be a different project. I don't know. In your pictures when I was looking at them when you're trying to like grab one in each. Um and I thought you were kind of using that, but I don't know if that was your other project. I can't remember, but through this whole cardboard situation, I could you kind of give me some inspiration to do something probably out of the box, as in like we do things as in we try to follow the reading materials each like one by one and follow it exactly and just try to keep it the way it is. But for you, you kind of add something different. You add basically props or things you create on the side and you put them together. So you're saying like a story kind of inside something out there for yourself. And from this, I kind of gives me maybe like some kind of like movement of like a 3D pop out. So basically, when I think about it kind of gives me a little vibe of like, I don't know if you ever been here. It's called Meow Wolf. I kind of talked about it before in one of my materials that when I create things, and I think Meow Wolf kind of inspires me. It's basically an art, like a fun art center that people can enjoy in Santa Fe. So in Santa Fe, you walk in and it's just like this enormous like um how would I say amusement park of like art, and basically you can walk into like your refrigerator and it becomes more skinny and skinny, and you crawl and you open up to another room of like basically of neon colors, and it's so playful how everything was moved, and yours is kind of like that. You're being playful of how like it kind of immerse involve into going into this part and going up into that part and just like creating some kind of movement like a claw. But at the same time, I would love to see maybe a little bit more color because I can see like a lot of cardboard going on. I could possibly maybe add like a bold white color or maybe like a white or black to color out the blackboard of like your stand and try doing something different with your shapes and cutouts. But so far, I really love it.
Thank you.
This one actually sort of like reminds me of like a teleportation status. Like you fall through one and you end up in another place. Like to me like is like dropping in like I don't know if you guys seen the episode of where Hulk falls through or where Thor falls through the teleportation right there out of the skies and whatnot, ends up on a different planet, on Hulk planet I think it was. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, it was sort of like reminds me of that, falling through something like that. So like it's really nice. I like it. You use different the different shapes, and it's really, it captured my eyes right away. It looks nice. I'm not kidding. It looks really nice. I like it.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Sean, what are you thinking?
Uh, back to what I said about the randomness. It's like so much randomness and like so much going on, and like you can't even tell what's going on. You just see like different shape patterns, and it's all pieced together where it's holding up. And um, I don't know what to make of it, honestly. Like it's just creative in its own way, I guess. But I guess what Shelby was saying about color, uh, maybe adding. I know it's not done because it's not due yet, but of course you're gonna have to probably add a little bit more color to like the cardboard pieces that aren't even colored. But um, other than that, uh, I'll stick to what I said. It looks like some butterflies or something.
I also kind of really want to know what you were trying to go for. Like, what's like behind it? What was your concept of in your mind? What you're trying to give? Was there like a story or something that you thought about in like a show or anything like that?
Actually, my inspiration was from Elijah Clark, the artist that we were learning about.
Yeah.
The more I went through her pictures, like the more I saw like how she made things like in her own way, and like some of them was just random and others were like kind of confusing a little bit.
Yeah.
And at first, I wanted to add like a little bit of color to it,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, I grabbed the wrong paint.
Oh,
And so like which is why you see a whole bunch of like brown in it.
yeah. I can see that
Uh,
part.
yeah, the rose gold apparently was like the same, almost the same color as like the cardboard, so that's where I kind of messed up at. And I thought I bought white paint, and that's what was supposed to be on the circles, but instead of white paint, I ended up like getting glitter again, like glitter paint.
Yeah.
So I didn't necessarily have any like transportation at that time, so I kind of like just went with it, hoping like the sparkles will kind of pop out a little bit, but unfortunately they didn't.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfectly fine because, like, same here. I don't go out much. I usually just try to stay at home and try to not move anymore. But in somebody who is also going to be an artist and like trying to experiment new colors, I think you should also look ahead of time of like basically buying a box of like paint so you can keep on the side just in case or keep collecting them because that's how I usually do. I collect a lot of paint even if people give them me as gifts or if I see them on sale because Hobby Lobby does do a lot of like art stuff for a sale, and it's crazy how much they say like 50% off this, and then it'll be like a lot, but then at checkout it's like so little. So basically, it would be nice to stock up on some paint and just like be ahead of time with those, so you can keep it on the side and just use them whenever you need to. You even have the smaller bottles too, and that's all you basically need. But so far, I really love your work, and I can tell what you were trying to do.
Yeah, I
Thank
think this project is quietly bold. Uh, and I also wanted to comment that it feels like an unpacked cube, like sort of. I feel like it started, with one of the initial projects that we did in this semester with the cube, and then this has completely evolved, according to what you have been learning throughout the semester. So I essentially see all of your previous projects in this project, right? Um, as far as like that word kinetic that we were exploring and using earlier with Kashan's project, I feel like this does, although it is not physically moving, it feels like it's moving, right? The way that these objects are kind of uh, I guess directed through the frame in the middle,
Yeah.
the connective piece. I also think it's fascinating the way that you are using these structural triangular, I guess, parts to not only allow the sculpture to kind of stand upright, but also there's this big piece that's kind of hanging or flanking to the right, and the word is cantilever. I don't know who's familiar with that word, but it basically means this thing is sort of structurally extruding into space, and it's able to hold itself up because of the way that Taisha was sort of designing this. if I'm not mistaken, earlier in this semester, Taisha had talked about an interest in being a structural engineer, possibly. Um,
Hmm.
so I think that makes sense. You know, her projects are very structural, but at the same time, very organic with the way that these unit forms are moving, not around the sculpture, but through the sculpture. I think that's really interesting. Lastly, I wanted to comment on the color and the contrast. I think Taisha, during office hours, myself, you know, we had been, I think this project was in an early stage and no color had been added, and we had a conversation about contrast and how color could be used to sort of
Yeah.
emphasize certain forms. And so I definitely get that from these beautiful black rectilinear pieces that are sort of floating around the object. But I really think that that beautiful sort of subtle, and that's why I used that phrase bold but quiet. Somehow I really like that gold, that rose petal gold against that beautiful industrial box brown. I think it works really well. Um, I think this project is really adventurous. I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
And I also really appreciate, I mean, Elijah Clark is just, you know, looking at her work is mind boggling. And she talks about objects being physical, but she also discusses sort of like a sensorial experience when you're looking at 3D design and 2D design. So, you know, those precedents are there for a reason, folks, you know, so I definitely get really, I guess, excited when I hear students say, you know, I was looking at Elijah Clark. Because I wish I had been looking at Elijah Clark 20 years ago. I only recently found Elijah Clark, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, these things, it's kind of going back again. I'm trying to connect the dots here. Kashan was talking about this curiosity with the design world. You know, it starts by looking at these artist precedents that I'm giving you. And Elijah Clark is really, really amazing. FYI, uh, this upcoming project, I'm going to be introducing Rodchenko, who is one of my all-time, I mean, I just, you know, looking at his work is very, very enthusiastic for me. I love it. But yeah, precedents, and I think you did a great job, Taisha. I think because we're short on time, I should stop applauding so much, but you know, like, yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Good job.
Yep. Okay, so who's next?
I could go. Yeah, I could go.
Alrighty.
Alright. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Good morning.
It's a little early. I'm not used to waking up this early, but let me share my screen.
Is that a train?
35.
Yeah.
All right, right here was the project 5 on repetition. So I did my little research. So taking a little forever to upload. So it's a couple pieces that I do research. That's not a giveaway. But right there's my sketches.
Oh, wow.
One of my sketches.
Ooh, that is beautiful.
Thank you. There's the side view. Got a little sloppy here. Plain view. Front view. And for the finished product. Here's the finished project. It's a little upside down. I couldn't have it sit up or sit right, so sorry about that.
Oh, so you wanted it sitting upright.
Yeah, I wanted it. Yeah, I wanted to go the other way, but
Yeah.
this sort of went upside down. I couldn't find a way to have it sit up because the way the bottom part was.
Hmm.
so I had to sit it the other way. So
Hmm.
here's that. This one I used a different highlight on my screen on the camera, so it came out a little better. I think I
Yeah,
like
that's a
it.
good image.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's jump in. Why don't you leave it on a shot that you feel best
All
represents your sculpture, and then
I
we'll
think right there.
okay.
I think that will work.
Okay. Jump in. The water's warm, folks.
First, I like to say I like your sculpture.
Thank you.
Why do you like it?
It looks like really well like planned out along with your sketches, and I like how like some parts of it are also openings as well. And I can see that you use nothing but triangles. Is that
Yeah.
right? Okay. Yeah, it looks really good, and I like the color that you put on it, and of course, like the inside too, and the pictures as well.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll have all
Yeah.
this uploaded on Blackboard when I get a chance today. I haven't had a chance to do it. I've been pretty busy lately. I have my kids. I haven't had my kids with me for like close to a year, so it was pretty good hanging out with them. So most of my attention was on them. So when I got the chance, I just put things together, you know. So this is pretty nice. I like this. I like this one. I like the way this project did. The way you guys probably saw the diamond beforehand. That's where everything was supposed to be going towards. But yeah, here's my project for project 5. So
Well, let's see.
Yeah,
Kayshawn, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I like it too. I mean, from this angle, I know it's supposed to be the other way, but it kind of looks like a teardrop,
yeah,
a pixelated on a video game, like a pixelated teardrop or a raindrop.
A
yeah.
teardrop in Minecraft or something.
Oh yeah, I just barely
Yeah.
got the image of that right now. Thanks.
Minecraft, exactly. But yeah, the your use of different shape variations, I guess, putting it together. I know what you're trying to go for, that diamond,
Yeah,
but yeah, the black inside the hollow parts. I like how you painted the black, you know, because like
yeah,
helps with the shadows, I guess. And then the blue. I know you. I see you use a lot of blue in your projects, but it's always that nice blue. It reminds me of like a turquoise or like a
yeah,
native feel. If anything,
yeah.
it's like a symbol of water.
Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, I like it. Good job.
Shelby, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
What are you thinking?
Thank you.
Um, the way he described it goes perfectly well. I like how like small and just like it's really cute, and I kind of like how it turned out and so simple, especially from experience of like kind of trying to cut things out very small, very delicately. It's just like it's very hard, especially gluing things together. I usually like use this craft glue, and it takes forever for it to dry. Like I'll just add one little one and I try to like stand there and just hold on to it. And then sometimes, and I really like how you measure it on each link, because usually when I create something, I feel like in the end, when I'm like gluing them together, it's kind of lit off or a little placed out. And I'm just like, okay, I measured it out very differently and I just don't like it. I'm going to try to go back on my sketches. And what you did was it's like basically you measured everything perfectly and how it lined up all together. And I can see what you were trying to go towards of like a diamond kind of thing. And
Yeah,
like I love how like the empty spaces are there. It kind of like it kind of bothers me. Like I don't know what this is called, but I wish it was like something to fill it in. Like I'm there, like oh, just let me create something so I can put that in to make it perfect. That's how I look at it. I'm just like it's. I was like but I really do like it like that. By the way, it's just
yeah.
it's really good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at this project and my initial reaction is the two words opacity and transparency. And I think folks have been commenting on this where you can actually look through this project, you can see into it, which is really interesting. I really wish that I could kind of rotate around it and sort of enjoy that visual experience, which is very Elijah Clark, right? It's very 3D
Yeah.
But
sculptural design, architectural. The other thing I wanted to mention was that obviously it's very obvious to me that the exterior is this beautiful cyan turquoise blue. um, did we
I got logged out for a while.
oh okay.
Yeah, but
okay.
I'm back.
Wait,
That
so
was
that was everybody too?
That was
was
it.
it? Okay.
I thought I was the only one. I was like, no, I need to be on this
I
Yeah,
thought it was
well,
me.
let's Jonathan, can you reshare your screen? I'm not sure what happened. That's okay, as long as we're all still here.
Yeah.
Got a little bit scared because I thought my internet went out.
Okay, I think we all
Same.
had an
Same.
internet
Mine's been like
scare.
going like
There's got to be a word for that, for internet scare.
Huh.
Okay, where I was going with that comment was that some folks mentioned that the interior was painted black, but to me that looks like a beautiful midnight blue. And so either way, I think the way that those two colors or those two interior exterior experiences with this object are
Yeah.
really, are very, very interesting. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Does
so
that
I'll
put
just
the
leave it there.
photo?
Hmm?
Oh, you can talk.
Oh no, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. I kind of do like how you captured a photo. It kind of like gives off like like a photography vibe because like what did you actually take the picture with? Like I'm kind of curious.
Oh, I actually just took it with my phone. I actually just changed the setting on the screen, the highlights of it. So
Yeah, I
that's
can.
what I did.
It really tells a difference, especially with the foreshadow of like how it angles that way, and then you can see like every tiny little detail, like the crests and like the depth inside of like each shadow that goes
Yeah,
towards it, and I can see why it looks like it could be black, but then it
yeah,
kind of shifts into another side when you look on the bottom, and it looks like a blue, but it's
mm,
just like the sunlight is not really hitting the inside of it, so it does look kind of black, but
yeah. It
really we
does.
don't know what's behind it, so.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's actually what was supposed to be blue, midnight blue. I made it midnight blue and light blue, turquoise blue,
yeah.
turquoise. So yeah, I made it those two colors to represent the diamond actually. To way the diamond reflects to it. The way you can see it on the first pictures up here. Let me show you guys.
Oh, that thing is large. Like, look at it.
Wait, I thought it was small.
I thought it was small too.
Oh my gosh, that totally blew our mind.
Right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah, when
it's
you
actually
put
a
that
lot
thing
bigger.
next to your shoe, I was like, good lord.
Yeah, it's a lot bigger.
Wow. Okay, well that changes everything too, right? Context, right, folks?
Yeah.
yes.
Yep.
Um, I also just, before we move on to
Right here.
additional comments, that
This picture, I was actually trying to go for this picture on the way it looked. The empty spaces on the way it is like that is actually supposed to see through it. Is the
yeah,
way the diamond is. That's the way I wanted to actually have it visualized. The way it is. And the darker blue is for the inside of it. As you can see through the diamond.
yeah. I think this is a great project, Jonathan. And I want to point out something also, before I forget. Jonathan, can you go back and share? Did we lose Jonathan?
Well, I did it again, but yeah, but that's where I was trying to go for
Yeah.
my project size, to actually visualize a real diamond and to actually see through a diamond. So that's why I left it one-sided open and whatnot,
Yeah.
and that's what I was trying to go for. And I hope you guys actually got to visualize it.
I think it was beautiful, but I wanted to, before I forget this idea, I kind of want to jump in.
Yeah.
That one image that you had shared with the shadows and the light, and
Yeah.
although there's only two colors to my knowledge happening, when you look at that image and you see the shadows, there's multiple dark blues, there's multiple light blues. It's a lot
Yeah.
was accomplished with just those two simple colors. And the other thing I wanted to
Yeah.
mention is, I feel like this idea, and this is a compliment when I say this, Jonathan. It's a simple idea, but the complexity with how it's being sort of absorbed, I think, from our end, really says a lot
Yeah.
regarding the power of just a real, I guess, succinct concept or idea, a very direct concept or idea, and the way that it can really kind of open up a lot of different avenues and roads for the viewer.
Yeah.
So I think this is a very strong project, and that scale thing, like when you showed us that project in with your shoe in the background, that was interesting.
Yeah.
There's a scale thing happening as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job. Yeah,
All right.
so,
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
let's take last comments on this project, just because I know, what happens is, I think we all get really excited about talking a whole lot about all these projects. And then before you know it, we're 4 hours into a critique. And I don't think we want to do that today. So let's try and, wrap this one up, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, Jonathan?
All right.
Well, all I gotta say is that it looks really good. I do see that you did, get that diamond effect, but at the same
Yeah.
time, it also looks like a teardrop.
Yeah. Thanks. And here's project 6. Project 6 was oh, here's my sketches. The finished product. There it goes. There's one photo. There's another one. And right there. I'm gonna leave it on this one. I like this picture.
Okay. Huh.
All I gotta say is wow.
Kind of reminds me of like a molecule.
Molecule.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, again, that relationship between the interior and the exterior, and I think it's really interesting with this project. The interior can be the exterior, and the exterior can be the interior.
Oh,
So, rhetorical statements really, like, we can blow our minds. But, I mean, what's
Yeah.
what's inside and what's outside? I don't even know anymore. So I think that's really fantastic here.
yeah.
I wanted to say this, but I was looking at it and I was like, huh, that kind of looks like a Minecraft emerald.
Yeah. I don't want to get off subject, but I do believe that Minecraft has a lot of elements of design going on, right? When you play that
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
So,
I was like
Dang.
looking at this and I was like, why am I thinking about Minecraft? Like those emeralds on the screen. I'm just, I don't know.
I am very curious about the color, and it looks like, for example, if on the previous project you used different shades of blue, but on this
Yeah.
project there seems to be a consistent color.
Yeah, it's just one color.
Yeah.
I just use one color through the whole thing.
But I also like this particular perspective. You can see the absence of physicality, and it's representing these triangulated shapes, right?
Mhm.
And so, I think it's really important to, again, interior, exterior, but negative space, right?
Yep.
Although there's nothing there, there's obviously something there. I love Red Arc. It's so much fun.
Looking at this too, like the thing with it is like you can place it on either side or any position,
Mm.
and it'll have its own unique like look.
Exactly.
It's a perspective thing. Yeah, but looks pretty cool. It's like a honeycomb or molecule. Reminds me of those two, but it's simple but complex in a way. Like kind of speaks to you. Like there's no exterior or interior. Like
Mhm.
just because of like the placement of it, like you can put it in any direction.
Mm.
I think something else that's really worth mentioning is the shadows. Look at the cast shadows against the ground from this thing. Wow.
You know, it's kind of like he did it on purpose when he was painting this. Like basically, I can see how, like how he was like trying to like finish the whole color, but at the same time, I'm like I see like a darker green on the left side of like the part of it, and then some highlights. And basically, I felt like he was like doing this on purpose of like adding like light green to medium green and dark green, and then from there adding black. But I think it's basically it's the shattering and like the lighting you made into like an illusion of like different colors, but it's basically one color.
And it does look like different types of greens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah,
diverse.
I think it's just the photo itself. It made it look like it was all different, but it's all the same. And I was really impressed about it. The photos, the way they came out too. Um, the way I wanted this project to come out too was to represent ancient ruins. You know, like the green was actually to represent moss. So and the structure was the way how ancient ruins are stabilized. And I'm just like really interested in like ancient stuff, like I'm like really interested in like in the past, like things that you can research and whatnot. I'm like really into that kind of stuff. So this one was actually to basically like like an old building, so it was basically representing an old building. But yeah, thank you guys.
Representing an old building. Huh.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, your
So
major is environmental science, is that correct?
No, actually, I'm doing pre-engineering. I'm actually trying to
Pre-engineering,
do,
okay, yeah.
yeah.
I think there's a little bit of sculptor in you too, don't you think?
Yep.
I think you have a lot of talent. This is good stuff.
Thank you.
Okay,
Mr.
so
Leader?
sorry, someone was going to say something and I interrupted.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just gonna ask you if I could leave the meeting a little bit early.
Yeah, if you need to, you're welcome to do so. I think we just had one more person who needs to present, and that's Shelby, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
No further questions?
Yeah, let's for the sake of time, let's wrap up Mr. Jonathan Begay's projects, and then we'll
There you
move
go.
on to Shelby, Ms. Shelby White.
okay. This part, that part.
And Taisha, if you need to leave a little early, that's okay. Just kind of, yep.
Okay, I'm sorry about this.
Hey, no problem.
All
You
right.
have a good
Have a
one.
good day, guys.
You too.
There's
I think I can start off this one. So this is project 5, and basically with this project I was trying to, I usually look upon online for like shapes, and for this one, for whole pattern of repetition, I wanted to take like a pattern that's like looking like a shape, and then basically try to make that into like a 3D form to make people see through the inside of it. So I was actually trying to do something different from this. I was like taking like little like designs of like a hexagon or like these type, and then at first when I was doing this, I was starting to cut up the pieces, and then I basically also started to think like, okay, if this doesn't work out, I could possibly try to do something else with like a basic cube. So I put that on the side to also to measure and like do like a floor model of like being prepared before I put everything together. And when I was like taking each of these like pictures, there was like more with it, but this part right here, this own picture in the background, it was supposed to be a hexagon. And then when I saw like how big it was formed, like, I don't know if this is how I wanted to go. So I was a bit hesitant about how the end of the product was, and I wasn't really satisfied. So I was like, okay, let's just like kind of sketch that out about and then just leave it. And then basically I started to do like the little shapes of the cubes one by one. And let me tell you, the whole cutout of these was taking forever, especially thinking like, okay, I'm almost done. And then I recount them. I'm like, I'm not close to 20 yet. But it's kind of hard at the same time because of I keep replacing the blades like every time I'm like going through them, and then I'm just like, why aren't you working? And then I just have to change it out and then basically do it again. It's satisfying, but at the same time I wish the blade could like go longer. But I know there's not much pictures with it, but at the end of it, I was like doing this at the end of the morning, and then when I was like looking basically how it was lining up, I started to think of my own vision of like how I wanted the whole product to come together. So I was thinking of like, you see this whole line and how shadow is going through, and then how we can see through it and basically in all angles. So I wanted to like create the first row of 5 and basically 4 and 5 and 4. And what I wanted to do was like do like a whole repetition pattern. So when you look at it, it looks like it's repeating itself on each line, but I also want you to look see through it because how the different angles are going to be when you see it. So basically what I was trying to do is like a vortex, like you basically are in your own vision view, and then when you look at something that goes from a distance, it kind of shifts and moves like you're like a movement of a repetition towards what I was trying to go for. And that's how I saw it, and I just wanted to do more with it. So let me bring up another one. Hold on. That's not it. That's not it. This one. So this was like the end of the product. I kind of wanted to like, it was kind of like the limit was like 20 cubes, but when I was like going through like a basic line, I'm like, I don't feel like it's good enough. Like I kind of want to make like a little bit one more structure. So I added more cubes so it can like finish what I was trying to envision on the top layer. So basically these are like the first angle of where it was going towards, and then when you look inside of it, they're actually all the same. So this one right here and another one and another one, and then when you're going through, it's like another one. So it's like a repeated pattern inside of its own. You're looking, seeing through these, like it's an X and an X, and it goes like that forward. And I was trying to envision and capture that towards something like this. And basically this was like the top angle of how it looks like in the very top. It was so hard because like basically you can see how it's standing all together. It's like a little like vertex to vertex, and it was like all of these are like vertex to vertex, and it was so hard just basically trying to angle them and then glue them and just like staying right there and staying really still and basically trying not to let them collapse. It has collapsed I think twice, and then it was kind of getting annoying, but at the end of the product it kind of all measured out very well together, especially on the top part. It was kind of interesting how it was. And what I was trying to capture actually, like the movement towards each inside of the square. And I feel like this project was probably like a part of me that I really feel accomplished with. But yeah.
Good work. Yeah, I like it. I see what you were trying to do with like the boxes and the transparency, like being able to visualize like and see everything like from any angle.
Yeah.
And in that picture on the left right there, can I look at that one? That one's like that angle and that perspective is like, it gives off like a sense of separation and isolation, I guess. in like these unit forms.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then compared to the other one on the right, it kind of just looks like chaos. And then you look back to the left and it has order again. So
Mhm.
again, it's just about perspective. And then yeah, to me it looks cool, like the aesthetic overall,
Mhm.
but good work. I like it.
I also had another idea of like basically painting like both of the section, maybe what are the 4 cubes? Is that like 1, 2, 3, 4? These 4 cubes black. So when you look inside of it, you can see the outline of it in the unit forms itself. But I was like, I don't know, because I tried painting with these and they were kind of really bad with the quality.
Yeah.
But I just kind of left it. I was like, maybe keeping it plain and simple, kind of good. It's kind of like how would I say, clean and very I I like it kind of simple like this.
Yeah, I like it the way it is too. I think one thing you could probably like try is maybe
Mhm.
like mess with the lighting and capture the shadows as well,
Yeah.
along with the artwork. Like maybe get like more shadow,
Yeah.
and I think that would like uh really enhance the artwork overall. But I really like it. You can tell you put a lot of work into it and a lot of cutting.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah, but good job.
Nice work. To me, it like sort of when you look at it in the front way, is like looking into a couple mirrors. You know, you get that reflection, and it gets doubled, and then you get a lot of people, like a lot of images of yourself. You know, like it reminds me of sort of like that kind of reflection when you look at it straight on, and it's pretty good. It's pretty interesting. Good job.
Yeah, I think again, this idea of like the composition that is sort of framed, or the space that is framed by these sculptures. Um, the emptiness. I know it's emptiness inside of these cubes, and the way that this emptiness is kind of building to create texture. Like to me, when I'm looking at some of these perspectives, they appear as drawings, but they're lines and space, right? Layered lines and space. So they feel like 3D drawings. Um, but I definitely see the Saul LeWitt, within this, project. So you were looking at the precedents.
I was, yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I would encourage you to do is to explore some of these connection joints. So that's some constructive criticism I might give you,
Mhm.
especially where you were using foam core, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So when you're using foam core, it's really amazing because foam core obviously has these two sides, right? And then
Hmm.
it has the inner foam.
Yeah.
But it's fascinating. You can sort of create a rabbet joint, with a very sharp knife and almost cutting through the foam core. And then you can use the side of the blade to kind of flick the actual foam away. So all you have is just the back kind of layer. And then you can fit these guys sort of into each other so that you have these more seamless joints.
Hmm.
Obviously, that can turn into a lot of work, but for a project like this, I think it might be worth it, or down the road for whatever you're creating, in your studio, which who knows?
Yeah.
I know you're a graphic design major, but graphic designers, they're still working with their hands quite a bit.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think this is a beautiful project, Shelby. I really applaud you. I think it obviously was a lot of work. The documentation is excellent. I think the shadows and the light and the way that you kind of set it up for us to perceive this project is great. But again, you know what I mean? When you're getting like that lower right hand image that we're looking at right now, and just looking at this beautiful sort of offset texture and the way that you are arranging these cubes to create an experience for us, you did a good job. Good stuff.
Hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, I have another thing on top of what Matthew said, like for some constructive feedback. Um, Again, with like precision of your cuts, I think
Yeah.
overall it's good. Like I really like it. It's creative, and you can tell you put in a lot of work. But to make it like top notch, I think like perfect almost is like again like having precision with your cuts and making sure like the shapes and everything you're creating is like almost exactly the same, and then like everything would be balanced and it just be like appealing to the eye and just like
Yeah.
it looked really good. But
Mm.
overall, like I like the idea and the way it's structured. But you did a good job.
I do have a question.
Sure.
Was the goal for each of these unit forms to be identical and
Yeah.
perfect? Yeah.
Yes. Also, I wonder if I have the thing with me actually. How can I? So basically, like I feel proud with this like project because I kind of want to grab it really fast. So or um stop. Yeah, I kind of let me grab it really fast because I actually have it with me, and basically, it's it's I don't know how to describe it. Basically, like when I was saying like movement and
Mm.
like trying to like let's see people see the inside of it. Basically, what I was trying to do. And if you really look inside of it in a specific angle, you can basically see how it is the same in like each section when you're
Mhm.
looking towards inside of it. Like the square, you can see where it's going, and
Yeah.
then basically how it's forming all together in like a repetition pattern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's
I
what.
think a lot of the power of this project is sort of like the rough mistake, like the way that all these unit forms that were intended to be very similar and consistent. I
Mhm.
don't think that they're exactly similar or consistent, and the way they're kind of offset when you're looking
Yeah.
directly into them creates
Mhm.
a real beautiful experience. So, Saul LeWitt, obviously, all of his stuff is like right on, when he's working with these repeating forms. So
Mhm.
it's very predictable, but I actually kind of like the way that yours is um, put together in more of an intuitive sense, I guess, or more of a relaxed sense.
Mhm.
So obviously, maybe Saul LeWitt had a lot of stress and anxiety or something. I don't know.
OCD.
Yeah, he had a few things going on, that he had to work out, with his sculptures. Like all of us, right? Anyway, but I think it's a beautiful project, Shelby. It's very, very nicely done and good documentation.
Yep, I like it too.
And so you still have a project 6 for us?
So project 6 right now is still being created through my folders, so I can actually show it on my computer yet.
Okay. Oh,
I
so,
really wish I could, but
okay.
it's not really all together.
Not
Like I
quite
have
ready?
everything. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll postpone project 6 until the next critique, but that means who
Yeah.
else is in that boat? Someone
Yeah.
else? Yeah.
I
So,
I just have my sketches too.
yeah, so if you have anything at all to show us today, Shelby, that would be okay. But otherwise, Keshawn and Shelby, you'll owe us 3 projects for the next and final critique. Hmm.
That's all right.
Yep,
I like presenting.
yep. Okay. And again, you know what I mean? There's that famous statement I always make. Once I see the quality and caliber of a brilliant project from you, I expect even better the next time. So that means 3 brilliant projects for the remainder of this semester. Woohoo! All
That's
right.
kind of how I feel too. Like after like we do one project and then we move on to the next one, like I feel like it has to be better than the last one.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
got to step up my game.
you got to up the game a little bit, up the
Yep.
quality, or really. But at the end of the day, I think construction techniques are important because they should be intentional. But what's even more important is sort of having a concept or an idea. That you can, like, if I ask, and Shelby's actually posed this question several times during this crit, what is your concept? What is your idea? It's a very simple, beautiful question, So, and we should all be able to answer that in 1 or 2, maybe 3 sentences.
Mm.
So some of you will be joining us for the design critique, which is scheduled to start at 11 a.m. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
yeah,
So
that's me.
we have 20 minutes. So what I'm going to do is ask if anyone has any final thoughts for 3D design business, and then we'll all tip our hats to each other, and then you'll have 20 minutes to eat breakfast or make coffee or do whatever you need to do for the next round of critique business.
Okay.
Any last comments?
Okay.
Yeah, I think everyone did a great job. Good stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was good seeing you guys' projects. It's giving me like a better understanding of like what's going through everyone's mind too.
Mhm.
Especially now, like since everyone's so isolated.
Yeah.
And it feels good to talk to your peers and your
Right.
classmates. But
Yep.
good job from everyone.
Kayshawn, I have one question before we hang up. How is the power doing on your laptop or whatever you're using? Are you going to have enough juice for the next crit?
I'm at 62 right now.
Uh-oh.
Should be good.
Better turn down the screen brightness.
All right.
Okay, all right. I'll see some of you at 11, and I'll see other folks on Blackboard at some point, huh?
All right then. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna go get some breakfast right now.
Great.
Later.